You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting. This is awful in every way. If I could kill it, I would. But I legally can't. But I've considered it. This right here is my favorite thing, ever. In the history of forever. I think about this every day. I think about this all night long. I stay awake, not sleeping, because I'm thinking about this.
After my last video about how extremism is essentially destroying games, this didn't come as a surprise, but it did come as somewhat of a confirmation of sorts, let's say. So what exactly happened? Well, when the Witcher 4 trailer came out back in December, people were yelling, kicking and screaming that Ciri is now ugly and she looks awful and so on. Did they actually believe it? I honestly don't know at this point. I feel like some people actually did, and the rest just fell victim to normative social influence, wherein one conforms publicly to what the majority or group wants in order to attain social reward, while at the same time making sure they avoid social punishment. Because anyone who dared oppose the view that Ciri is ugly on X would be called a sellout, a traitor, as if this is some type of war, a coward, and so on. In other words, the extreme group's opinion of Ciri proved to be the only thing some people would listen to. Not because they all believed it themselves, but because it was expected of them to believe what the loud minority was yelling about, because the majority had actual concerns about the new Witcher. Fast forward to a few days ago, when CD Projekt Red released a behind-the-scenes video explaining how they went about making the cinematic reveal trailer. And suddenly, people saw Ciri in a different light. Literally. Now she's gorgeous, now she's hot, now she's beautiful, while the face is the same, the hair is the same, the very Ciri model used is still the same, and the only thing that's different is the lighting and the camera angle.
Luca! Bueno? Piñu! Bueno? Piñu! Bueno? Piñu! Piñas! Lule Piñu! Piñu! Piñu!
Meanwhile,
They're the same picture.
The game director confirmed that it was the same model, but even if he hadn't, this is clearly the same Ciri from the post-monster fighting part of the original trailer, and it's clearly her because Ciri has the same post-fight injuries on her face, and not only that, but the game director's words made me go back and actually look at Ciri frame by frame, and he was right. I too thought that she looked puffy at times in the trailer, and even said so myself in that video, but this frame by frame made me realize that there are other instances in the trailer where Ciri's jawline is more pronounced and her cheeks less full, and other instances as well where she did in fact look puffy with fuller cheeks. In other words, perspective is key here. Camera focus, lighting, shadows, whether the character in question is in a cinematic trailer, whether it's a 3D model of the character that's just standing there, or a character that's actually talking and whose face is moving with the help of mocap, etc. The game director again emphasized that said perceived changes occurred due to the fact that the model seen in the video is the same, but it is a raw footage of the model without facial animation, lighting, or virtual camera lenses. To be honest, I feel like confirmation bias is what led to this perceived gotcha moment for the extreme side once again.
Gotcha, bitch!
People wanted to have their previous belief that because they have been complaining that Ciri is ugly, the studio would change her appearance because of them. Like what happened with the Sonic movie, for example. And this change in lighting, focus, and camera angle was exactly what they were looking for to prove to the world, but mostly themselves, that they were right. See, the studio did what we told them. That's why I've been hating on everyone who said they liked Ciri. See, it worked.
Last but not least, I want to thank me. I want to thank me for believing in me. I want to thank me for doing all this hard work. I want to thank me for having no days off. I want to thank me for never quitting.
Our brains are unfortunately susceptible to sync causality between events even when they're not really connected. Because it's easier to believe we made an actual change with our downright absurd reaction to something we could have handled in a much more mature way than to admit that we jumped to the conclusion that the extreme and loud group was pushing us towards, or that we were biased, or that we didn't think for ourselves first, or God forbid, that we were wrong all along. The bottom line here is this: the problem remains the same. The extreme portion of one side started screaming, and people were rallied once more to die on a pointless hill when the actual concerning thing in the trailer, which was not Ciri's appearance but the fact that she's somehow a Witcher now, goes entirely ignored. Because those fans' voices, who have actual lore concerns, are being drowned out in the loud minorities yelling and screeching. Now, another studio can chalk any concerns and or questions we have up to us being loud for no reason once again. In summary, I honestly do not see what everyone else is supposedly seeing here, and I fear that both extreme sides cannot enjoy a game anymore unless they feel like they have influenced the studio in one way or another. This constant fighting has become an all too addicting habit for them, I think, and I honestly wonder what will happen once this war of extremes is finally over and the dust has settled. Will the two extremes even be able to enjoy games anymore? Because without the fighting and infighting amongst themselves, I honestly doubt the two extremes can enjoy a game for just themselves, and not as a means to own or spite the opposition. And that's the saddest thing about this entire thing, in my opinion, because games are supposed to be a hobby we all enjoy, not a point of contention. Of course, you can disagree about certain aspects of any hobby, but we can't even do that anymore without the conversation devolving into yelling, screeching, and name-calling.